Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day so far. So on the day that I am uploading this video, it is the day after my first wedding anniversary, and I thought that this would be a fun little video to film what makeup products I would use and what makeup look I would do if I was getting married this year. So I thought I could do this every year and see what new products I would incorporate, see if I would change any techniques, things like that. So I do have a video that I filmed earlier this year, which was the makeup that I actually did for my wedding day using all of the products that I used. And there were so many products in that video that I was like, I just wouldn't use that now. I wouldn't do that technique. I wouldn't use that product. It's not the tone that I go for, all of these different steps. So I thought it would be interesting to sit down and actually just lay out all of the products that I would use now and all of the products that I would recommend if you are getting married this year. So if you want to see what products I used and how I created this look, then just keep on watching. So I will link up here the video where I talk you through the makeup that I actually wore on my actual wedding day, so that you can see the differences, see what products I'm using the same, see what products I'm using differently. It's not that long since I filmed that video, so I can still remember what products I actually used on my wedding day, and I know that most of them, no, that's a lie, a lot of them have changed. I was going to say most of them are the same. A lot of them I've changed my mind on since then. Obviously I'm trying new products all the time, I'm always getting new products, I'm always buying new products, and I'm always trying them out in lots of different ways. So this is what I would actually do with the knowledge that I have now if I was getting married today on the day after my first wedding anniversary. So I am going in with the E.L.F. Halo Glow. I was umming and ahhing between this one and the collection one because they are very similar. I have a whole review comparing them to each other. I just prefer the undertone of this one. Obviously we're still in sort of summer, so I prefer the warmer undertone of this one, whereas the collection one that I have is a lot fairer and a lot like cooler. This one's warmer, so I prefer this one at this time of year. But honestly they're both very similar, so I'm just going to slap this on all over. Now it is worth noting that I have very dry skin, so any product that I use is to add that glow in, because otherwise my skin just looks dull and lifeless, and I need to add in all of this juicy glowiness. So obviously this product, like, that's what this product is for, but it's just worth noting that the other products and all of the steps that I'm doing are for that purpose, are to add in that glow, to make me look less like the Sahara Desert, and that is very much the vibe that I am going for and indeed would go for again on my wedding day. I did use a glowy primer on my wedding day, but I think with the rest of the products that I'm using, I would prefer the E.L.F. Halo Glow now. So then I'm going in with concealer number 1, and I'm doing this under my foundation to really help brighten the eyes and to start the process of concealing the dark circles. So this is the Collection Lasting Perfection Stretch Concealer. I have this in the shade 4 Extra Fair, and I'm just dipping a little bit of that onto the brush. So this is the Real Techniques contour brush, and I'm going to start working that into the inner corner of the eyes before I do the foundation, just to start that sort of colour correction on the inner corner of the eyes. This is a step that I did on my wedding day. I would absolutely do this again. I love the process of like layering all of these different products, and I just think that all of these layers helped my makeup stay looking nice all day. So I'm blending this right out over the whole like eyelid, right up through the brows, and then whatever I've got left on the brush I'm sort of using to blend out right over the whole like eye socket area. So then for foundation, it has to be this one. If I'm choosing a drugstore foundation that I know I can rely on and I know will look nice all day, it has to be the Revolution IRL Filter Foundation. It is fantastic. If I were to have my day again now, I would be hard pressed to choose between this and the one that I did use, which is the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear, whatever it is, it's got the longest name in the world. They're both beautiful, but I think I would probably choose the Revolution one just because I think I prefer the finish of this one over the really intensely like glowy finish of the NARS one. I don't know, they're both beautiful, don't make me choose, but if we're talking drugstore, it's got to be this Revolution one. So I'm going to take one pump on the back of my hand, just start with one, you can always add more, and I'm going to go in with a brush. This is the Real Techniques Seamless Complexion brush, and I'm going to start painting this all over the face. So that wasn't even one whole pump, but everything is evened out nicely, and I will just take perhaps a little bit more, maybe not even all of that, and just add it onto the centre of the face here where I know I get a lot of redness, and just keep building it up until I've got the amount of coverage where I want it and how much I want. But I probably won't even use all of that. It's such a good amount of coverage, this foundation, and it layers up really nicely, and I know that it lasts all day. Depending on how you're having your hair as well, make sure you take it onto your ears, right down your neck. You don't want things to be different colours. So I've not even used that whole pump. I will wipe that off before I get it all over my nice white dress. And then I'm going in with my second concealer. So this is the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer, just the original one. And I have this in the shade Fair 5. And I'm just going to use this very tightly on the inner corners. So layering it up over that stretch concealer that we put on first. And I'm going to take that first brush that we used, the contour brush, and keep it really tight on the inner corner area. The layering of all of these products will just cancel out all of that darkness. And this is more of a matte finish concealer as well, so I like using this sort of down the centre of the face. I think perhaps if it was me now, I would go for the next shade down, so 4 Extra Fair, just to help brighten that a little bit more. But I'm not going out and buying another concealer just for this video. This one works really, really well for like the rest of my face as well. This is the stage where I would, like, if I had any spots or anything, I would conceal over those with this concealer, with a matte concealer. That will just help knock it back. You don't want to use anything too hydrating or like a sheeny sort of finish. You want to use something like the original Lasting Perfection to help cover it in a matte way, and that will help hide any spots or anything more. So at this stage I'm going to go in with a really small brush. This is the Real Techniques setting brush, and I'm going to go in with my setting powder just under the eyes. This is the Revolution Hydra Matte setting powder. This is so finely milled and so soft focus blurring. It's just a fantastic setting powder, and I'm going to just set over that concealer lightly just so that it doesn't crease, and I'm also going to put some over the eyelids, sort of through the brows. Does anybody else get like oily sweaty eyebrows, or is that just me? We are going to be putting cream products on the rest of the face, so I don't want to like set the cheeks or anything just yet, but I want to set that concealer in before it starts creasing. I'm also just going to put a little bit of lip balm on. I forgot to do this at the start, so that can be sinking in whilst we finish off the rest of the face. So for the like colour products on the rest of the face, I think using a cream or a liquid like bronzer and blush, and then finishing it with a powder bronzer and blush really helps lock everything in. It intensifies the colour. Obviously it's a very long day, or at least UK weddings are a very long day. I started getting ready at 9 o'clock in the morning and the party didn't finish until midnight, so it was a really long day and I needed my makeup to last. I think in America, don't you get married at like 5 in the evening and then like your party finishes at midnight? That just seems so alien to me. Like, make a full day of it. Anyway, going off on a tangent, I'm going in with the E.L.F. Putty Bronzer. This is in the shade Tan Lines, and I'm going to use this on a Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. And I'm going to swirl into that and start chiseling out these cheekbones and just adding that colour back in. I'm also taking this across the top of the forehead, under the jaw, and then when I don't have as much on my brush, down the sides of the nose. I don't think I contoured my nose on my wedding day last year, and I think I would definitely do that now. But I do just do it with the same brush. I just find using the same brush and this sort of wider motion, it almost blends it out for me. I just find it easier. Like if I were to use a smaller brush, I feel like I would be here all day and I would just get frustrated and probably end up taking everything off or like wiping it off and just completely giving up on it. So I just use the same brush, do whatever you want. So whilst I'm blending these products out, I'm just switching between my bronzer brush and my foundation brush just to make sure everything is blended out nicely. There aren't any lines anywhere. Everything just looks seamless. So I think I'm happy with how that's looking. And for blush, this is a product that I used on my wedding day. This is the E.L.F. Putty Blush in the shade Bora Bora. It's a beautiful, hot, bright pink, and I was very much into this, still am. I love this shade. For me, this is just the perfect bright summery skin shade. So I'm using another Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, and I like to keep this quite high up and quite far back, just for my face shape. Obviously, depending on your preferences, and also like depending on how you're having your hair and things, will depend on how you like to apply your blush. So I'm blending that in with that brush, blending it into that bronzer, and also I like to take it quite high up and like through to my temple, but again, just personal preference. So once I'm happy with those cream based products, I'm then going to go in with a big old fluffy brush into that setting powder, and I'm going to tap it into there and then swirl it. Ooh, so powdery. Swirl it into the lid just so that we don't get like a big clump of powder in one place, and then stamp this all over the face to set everything in. So that is the first layer of powder on. So I'm going to go in with my setting spray. I'm going to use this a few times throughout the video. This is the E.L.F. Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist. I only have this much left. I need to get another one of these because I can't live without it. This is the best setting spray. It is the finest mist. It is beautiful. So I'm going to get my freshly curled hair out the way so that I don't ruin that. Drench my face in it and then fan to dry. So that is all of that powdered and then set with the setting spray, and now we can go in with the other colour products for the skin, so the bronzer and the blusher for the powder versions. And this is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Matte Bronzer in the shade Light, 250 Light, and I'm going to go in with a big fluffy brush. This is the Real Techniques blush brush. I always have this linked in the description down below. It is the best powder blush and powder bronzer brush that I've ever tried. It just makes it so easy. And I'm going to start warming up where we put the putty bronzer. I'm going to put this over the top and start adding more colour into the skin, this is just more of a warmer tone, especially on my skin tone. I don't want to look too pale. Like, I wouldn't get a spray tan personally for my wedding, but I just want the skin to look glowy and like I've been on a holiday, even though I haven't. And then the powder blush that I actually used on my wedding day that I'm dropping all over me, and now I have all over my hands. This is the Flower Beauty Flower Pot powder blusher in the shade Wild Rose. So you can see how that is like a similar undertone to that putty bronzer that we used, so it's just building up more of that beautiful blushed colour. And again, I keep this quite far back, and I just use the same brush. I just sort of wipe it off in between, but this is the best brush for these powder products. So for the brows, I have a whole routine for this. I normally use like a pencil and then the Wow Brow. For my wedding day, I would have 2 pencils and the Wow Brow. So what I did on my actual wedding day was I used a warmer pencil, and I think it was a L'Oreal one that I don't have anymore, and I blocked out the whole brow from maybe like 3/4 out and did the like tail end of the brow with that warmer colour. Then I went in with the Eyelure brow pencil, and you can see how little of that I have left. I went in with that and I did those little hair-like strokes, and then I went in just with a Revolution brow gel I had. I don't prefer that brow gel now, I prefer the Wow Brow. So I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to be using the Collection Incredibrow Define Plus in the shade Brunette 2 to do that tail and that outer like 3/4, then the Eyelure brow pencil, and then the E.L.F. Wow Brow. So the 2 pencils work together to really build up what looks like hair-like strokes. The Eyelure brow pencil is a really firm pencil, so you can get those little hair-like strokes. Also keep a sharpener on hand, because you will want to keep sharpening it to get those really fine little brow hairs. And this is going to take me forever, so I will be back when I've got some brows on my head. So, brows are on. Editing Milli, how long did it just take me to do that? Because I think that took me about 20 minutes to just do my brows. They are such an important part of your face that I feel like it's worth taking the time to really get them right, to really get them really sleek if that's how you want them, or really fluffy like I have. It does take time. Accept that it's going to take time and enjoy the process. So for the eyes, I'm going in with a bit of a curveball. So for my actual wedding day, I used a Stila eyeshadow palette, and it had a beautiful mixture of warm and cool toned eyeshadows in it, and really great matte shades. And I thought that the obvious choice for this would be the Revolution Forever Flawless palette in Allure. However, I feel like this leans very, very pink, and that's not the vibe that I was going for my wedding day. I did try this as an option when I was doing all of my pre-wedding practices, and I just feel like those shades are very pink, and that wasn't really what I was going for the eyes. I wanted something more neutrally brown, so I'm going in with this one. This is the Revolution Forever Flawless Chilled palette, and this, I am aware that this is a green eyeshadow palette, but these 3 down here, Cool, Relax and Burn, these 3 are the perfect neutral brown tones for my skin tone. I feel like these 3 will build a really nice eye look. I am on the hunt for a matte eyeshadow palette that has warm and cool and neutral brown tones in it, just your standard brown eyeshadow palette. So let me know in the comment section down below what your recommendations would be, because obviously this isn't my perfect neutral palette. It's green, but I feel like those 3 shades are going to build the look that I want to do. I'm basically doing the same look that I actually did for my wedding day. Spoiler, I am going in with the E.L.F. Liquid Glitter in Flirty Birdie. It's the most incredible glitter, but I just want to do a very basic brown smoky eye. So I'm starting with Relax, which is the lightest shade, on a big fluffy brush, and I'm looking down into my mirror and blending this through my crease. I'm also doing a wing, so I am sort of going to be dragging this outwards to elongate the eye a little bit. And then I'm going in with a smaller, more dense brush, and I'm going into the shade Cool, which is like the medium shade, and I'm going to keep this on the outer corner and blend it into the crease shade. I'm also taking this under the outer corner of the eye, and then using sort of flicking motions up this way to sort of replicate the shape that we're going to be doing with the wing, just to start that sort of shadowy shape out there, and then back in with that first brush to blend the edges away, and then going in with an even smaller little pointed brush into the shade Burn, and I'm just taking a tiny little bit right on the end of that brush, and I'm going to keep that right on the outer corner. So that second shade, Cool, sort of, as I blended it, it ended up sort of halfway across the lid, which is fine. I do like quite a dark smoky eye, so that has sort of gone across to the middle of the eye, and I just want this one right on the outer corner, just to intensify that darkness out there. So that's the difference between just the two shades and then that extra darker shade on the outer corner. Like I say, I like a dark smoky eye, so I like the addition of that darker shade, but you can leave it at whatever stage you're comfortable with. So that is all of those matte shadows on. I could absolutely just leave it at this, but because I'm a magpie, I do feel the need to add a little bit of glitter. So I'm going in with the E.L.F. liquid glitter in Flirty Birdie. This is what I wore on my wedding day. In a million years and with a million different looks, I think I would always choose this. It's just beautiful. It screams bridal to me because I wore it on my wedding day. But for me, this is just absolutely a non-negotiable. I need glitter. So I'm tapping this over the inner corner of the eye and across to like just up to the centre, tapping all of that on, and then I take a flat brush and tap over the edge to blend it down. You could use your finger. I just prefer using a brush, and you could just keep this very tight on the lid, but I want glitter to be seen from outer space, so I tap it all up in this like inner corner area. Blend, blend, blend. I just love glitter, and this is like, because it's gold and silver glitters, it doesn't lean too warm, it doesn't lean too cold, it's just so pretty. And I feel like where that blends out, like around here, it's subtle but you can still see it. I love it. And because this is a liquid glitter as well, you don't have to worry about the fallout. You don't have to worry about doing your base first or doing your eyes first, but this glitter just stays all day. It's so intense. I honestly recommend these to absolutely everybody. I feel like nobody talks about them and they're incredible. Then I'm just taking that biggest shading brush and tapping over the edge just to make sure that glitter is blended in to the darkest shades on the outer corner. And that is me done. So I used a black liquid liner on my actual wedding day. I think now I would use a brown. I just think it's slightly softer, slightly warmer, makes it a little bit less intense. I mean, not that I'm worried about looking intense, like I have 7 tons of glitter on my eyeballs, but I just think I prefer the look of a brown. So this is the L'Oreal Infallible 24 Hour Matte Liquid Liner in the shade 03 Brown. Very simple. And I'm just going to do a bit of a wing. Nothing too crazy, nothing too big, just a little sort of elongation of the eye. I don't know what it is about a liner, like a liquid liner, but I just feel like myself when I have that wing on. I feel like it really suits my eye shape. I feel like it suits my face shape. I just love how that looks. So for mascara, I didn't bring one over. I would go in with the same one that I did actually use on my wedding day, which is the Maybelline Lash Sensational. I had the waterproof one, I have run out of that one, so I just have the original, but they both look the same. And I also had big, long, semi-permanent lash extensions. I wouldn't do that again. I didn't like how it looked. I didn't like how it made my eyes look rounder. I already have very round eyes, which is why I like that wing. So I don't think I would get those lash extensions. I also only got them done the day before, so I had no time to like get used to them or practice with them, which goes against everything that I say to do, everything that I know that I should do, which is practice with everything. I just never practiced with the lash extensions because I couldn't, and in hindsight I wouldn't get them again. They were really irritating on my eyes, just, you know, my own personal experience. They were really irritating on my eyes, and I didn't really even like how they looked. I would now practice with more fake lashes. I am not a fake lash wearer. I don't often wear them. It's been about 15 years since the last time I wore fake lashes, so I wouldn't just dive straight in and wear whatever on my wedding day, which is why I'm not recommending any lashes today, because I haven't had a chance to try any. But that's what I would do if I was getting married today or tomorrow, or, you know, anytime soon. That is what I would do. I would get a few like fake lashes and really get used to wearing those rather than getting the lash extensions again, because it just wasn't my vibe. So that's the mascara on. I think that if I could bring myself to put lashes on, just like an outer corner lash, just a few little lashes just to elongate the eyes a little bit more, I feel like I would have been so much happier doing that on my wedding day rather than what I did do. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of a nude liner in the waterline. Now I took this on my wedding day, not this exact one, a different one, and I just completely forgot to use it. And I wish I'd remembered. It was there in my makeup bag, and I just didn't use it. Can't explain why. And that just really opens up the eyes, brightens things back up again. This is in the shade 005 Nude. I feel like, do they do more of a whiter shade than this? I feel like this is very close to my natural skin colour. Maybe something a little bit lighter I would prefer. So I'm going to do another little spritz of the E.L.F. setting spray, and then it's just the lips. So wipe off that lip balm we put on. So for lip liner, I'm going in with the Rimmel Rose Addiction lip liner. This is my all-time favourite. This truly is, for me, a my lips but better sort of lip liner. So I'm going to overline slightly. I don't want my lips to look really big and fake. I just want them to look a little bit fuller than normal. And then I'm just blending that in to the lips a little bit with my finger. And then the lipstick that I'm using is a L'Oreal one. This is the L'Oreal Colour Riche Matte in 633 Moka Chic. I'm just going to tap this over. So this is slightly lighter and slightly pinker. I do have a whole video on lipsticks that I would recommend for your wedding day, like drugstore lipsticks, so I will link that above if you want to see that. And that is a matte lipstick, so that's how I would leave it for the ceremony. But then after the ceremony, when you're getting your pictures done, I do like the look of a gloss, so I'm going to go in with this one, which is another L'Oreal one. This is the Colour Riche Shine in Coconut Plum, and this is a lot lighter and slightly pinker. So I'm just going to tap that over, and that makes it glossy. and juicy, but obviously for the ceremony you maybe don't want a glossy lip, because when the person conducting your ceremony says you may now kiss the bride, a glossy lip is going to transfer, whereas a matte lip isn't. So unless your other half doesn't mind wearing your lipstick, then you can do this, but I would say add that after the ceremony. So all I've got left to do is highlight, and I don't know why, but I like to save this until the end. So this is the Revolution Bright Light highlighter. This is in the shade Strobe Champagne, and I'm going to take the lid off, click up a load of product and get it on my fingertips that are hopefully clean, and just tap that over the top. So I like to do this at the end rather than before, like setting powder and things like that. I like to do this at the end so that the setting powder and things doesn't dull that reflection. It still looks subtle, it still looks as if it's in your skin rather than on top of it, but I don't know, I just prefer doing it at the end. And doing it this way, taking it on your hand rather than dabbing directly onto the skin, I find it just a little bit easier to control, because you don't know how much you're going to get out when you dab it straight onto your skin from the applicator. So with any highlights or anything, you don't want to bring it in any further than like your pupils or like the outsides of your eye. You just want it to be on the outside of the face so that it doesn't look too like sweaty in the middle. I'm also going to pop a little bit above the brows because I do like that reflective finish, so I want the face, all of the face, to look reflective, not just the cheeks. I'm also going to take a little bit on the cupid's bow and then a tiny little bit on the nose, but not too much on there because, like I said, I don't want to look too sweaty. Now highlight is like a difficult one for me. When I was like preparing and practicing my makeup looks and things for my wedding day, for months beforehand it said it was going to be like slightly overcast, around about like 19 degrees, like a nice warm day, like it wasn't going to be cold. Obviously it was September, so it was like a slightly autumnal day, so I was like, yeah, I can lay on a lot of highlight. It ended up being like 27 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, not a breath of wind. It was so hot. So I layered on lots of highlight and then I ended up looking quite sweaty by the end of the day. So do take the weather forecast into account, because I just didn't even check it and then it ended up being a boiling hot day. And then, like we did with the other skin products, I'm going to tap over the top of that liquid highlighter. Even though that's set, that is completely dry, but I want to be seen from outer space. So this is the Revolution Highlighter Reloaded in Just My Type, and I'm going in with a fluffy brush and tapping over the top of that. I'm also just tapping a little bit of that Just My Type right on the inner corner, because I know we've got that glitter there, but I like more. And then I think I'll just do a little bit more blush, just to make sure that that blush is blended into that highlight nicely. A little bit more blush, and then I'm done. So that is the finished look. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Obviously this does look very similar to the look that I actually did on my wedding day, the look that I did in that video that I spoke about before. It is the same look. I don't think I would change the look even in like a number of years. I just love how this looks. I feel so good in this amount of glitter, and just all of the steps I feel to build this look, I feel like they're so necessary. Obviously personal preference, you could skip out whatever you want to skip out, but I feel really good in this amount of makeup and in this look. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are any of these products that you would use on your wedding day? Do let me know. If there are any other like bridal looks that you want to see, I do have a playlist of like different bridal looks that I've put together, so I will link that up here as well and in the comment section down below, of course. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye!